Tech for Seniors, episode 48. This is February 22nd, 2021. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Tech for Senior. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Those of you who are on our Zoom stream here, thank you for coming to the meeting, and hopefully you've enjoyed the previous half hour. Those of you who just joined us on the streaming service over on YouTube, welcome again. We have about 15 people over there now watching, so welcome as well. Those of you who, so we have two streams going today. One, of course, is our Zoom meeting, and the other is our streaming service. The streaming service will go for about 50 minutes, and just prior to the music segment, we'll be stopping the live stream. But for those of you who are in the Zoom meeting, please stay with us, and we will be moving on into the question and answer part of our show today. So the show really goes on till about 20 minutes after the hour. We have a huge show for you today, lots of exciting things happening. The world is a buzz, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. I would like to just mention, I need a little bit of help and some feedback. Hewie and I worked on a little project this weekend. We added a follow-up email, so if you register for the newsletter, you then will get a follow-up email sort of outlining what Tech for Senior is and all the things that you can do, which will be a sort of an introductory email. If you've already registered for our newsletter, you won't get that, but we'd like some feedback on it and see. So if you haven't registered for the newsletter, please do so, and let us know what you think of our little follow-up email. I sort of had some ideas, and Hewie corrected my spelling. So thanks, Hewie. We had a now I'd like to introduce everybody today. Hewie, welcome. Can you wave to everybody and say hello?
Hi there, everybody. Welcome.
Now, we had a busy week this week, didn't we?
Absolutely. Every week's very busy, Ron.
Well, you know, we did, of course, on Thursday, we did our Learning Chromebooks, right?
Absolutely. And it went well, and we had a great show.
You did so well. And all those models that are coming out, that's crazy, isn't it?
And there's going to be a lot more.
Wow. I think this is the year of the Chromebook, right?
You've been saying it over and over again. And I think you're making it happen.
I think so. Yeah. So that worked out really well. So we had a good time. And if they want to sign up for the next Learning Chromebook, which is in March, how would they do that?
They go to Tech for Senior, click the button that takes them to the registration page. And if they're already registered, they don't have to register again. It carries over. Right. And I send out reminders just before the meeting of the link, of your unique link. And everyone should get that just a few days before, and then usually the day before.
How simple is that, right? And Bob, how did your week go? Listen, just before Bob, you answer that, I wanted to just say that Bob was the guest speaker at our club this week and talked, of course, on his yearly security talk. Now, I've known Bob for about 10 years. He always gives great presentations, but I will tell you, this year, Bob, you're like fine wine. You age as you get better. It was an outstanding talk. It was really good. So if you have not had Bob come and do the security talk with your club, you should definitely do that. Right, Bob?
I won't argue with someone who's happy with what I've done for them. Thank you.
All right. And Ray, where are you? Here you are.
Yep, I'm here. And guess who is speaking to my Payson Computer Club tonight?
Would that be Bob?
What a phenomenal guesser you are. Yes.
Well, you're going to have a great time. It's a really, really good talk. So you'll enjoy that. Now, just to let you know that Ray is a popular person. He is a bit of a celebrity unto himself. He talks about music clubs. And we were talking earlier today, and Ray's going to do a little piece, and we're going to put in the newsletter. And, you know, there's no reason why. You'll see how this flows through. My life has been a buzz this week, and we'll again talk about the buzzing in a minute. But it's you'll see where we're flowing with this when the show finishes. You'll see how it all works out. But I think that might be something interesting, because I know a lot of people are interested in music, right? Right?
Absolutely. Everybody is just a lot of people, different types of music.
Right. And Dewey, where's Dewey?
I am here as usual.
You're
Smiling face,
you're
ready
probably
to
out.
go.
You're out admiring all those beautiful pavers that you got laid down, eh?
Well, we're still working on them. I'm going to work on sealing them now, and that's a whole topic unto itself.
Ah, okay. All right. Some interesting things today. Is Chris Rosinski here? Chris, can you wave if you're here? Maybe he's not. Maybe he's over streaming. I don't know.
Yes, I'm
He's
here.
here.
He's here.
I'm
So
here.
listen, I want everyone to let you know that Chris sent me this morning a YouTube video, and it was fantastic. And I'm going to put that in the newsletter. It's, as you know, that I was interested in couples that are sailing around the world and sharing their sailing experiences. Well, this YouTube video that Chris sent me lists the top 40 sailing vessels going around the world that people are sharing their information. So it sort of categorizes them all. That was a really good video, Chris. Thanks so much for doing that. The other one is, of course, we have today in our midst a real live, honest to goodness Starlink user, a paid up member who actually has the service up and running. And that is Greg Farrell. And I'm not going to let Greg talk, because if I let Greg talk now, we won't have a show, right? So we're going to have him in the Q&A discuss how we set it up and sort of so on and so forth. I have a few pictures I'm going to show you right after Dewey's or Hewie's Starlink session. So we'll certainly talk about that. Now, I will tell you, we have a guest speaker today. My life has been a buzz all week. I've been telling you that. And as the Buzz Club sweeps across the United States and Canada and becomes more popular, I want you to remember that you heard it first on Tech for Senior, all right? Today we have the CEO and founder of the Buzz Club here today with us, and she's going to give us a chat, and she'll also be in the Q&A. Her name is Camille Hooks. She is interested in seniors. She loves seniors, and she's designed her whole program and software around seniors. So I thought that was a great idea. I've already signed up for a number of her services, and you will too. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we have, and she's about the age of my granddaughter. So how can someone so young be interested in people so old? And she's going to tell us that. All right. So Camille Hooks will be coming on. So that is a very exciting time. And my life has been a buzz. All right, Bob, they're getting tired of me. Are you ready to do your security?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll let you go.
Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending February 19th, 2021. The FDA prioritizes medical device security with a plan for a revamped cybersecurity guidance. One lesser-known aspect of the Food and Drug Administration is their role in regulating medical devices such as insulin pumps and pacemakers. Several years ago, they issued their device safety plan. As they stated in the plan, these devices can be vulnerable to security breaches and exploited in a way that could compromise patients' safety. Security threats to the healthcare sector have become more frequent, more severe, and more clinically impactful, as they stated in the 2018 draft document filled with the cybersecurity guidance for new device makers. Indeed, this very issue was a plot point back to 2012 in the TV series Homeland, in which the vice president's character was killed by terrorists who hacked his pacemaker. While this scenario is unlikely, there is clearly a need for better cybersecurity standards with medical devices. More information is available on the FDA website. Uninstall the Share It Android app Now, to avoid critical vulnerabilities. Do you have the popular Android app Share It installed on your phone? You should uninstall it as soon as possible. Sooner if possible. According to the researchers at Trend Micro, Share It suffers from many fatal flaws that could let hackers execute code on your device, install malicious apps, and more. And after 3 months, Share It chose to do nothing about the problem. According to Trend Micro, the vulnerabilities would allow bad actors to leak a user's sensitive data and execute arbitrary code with Share It permission. Share It comes with extensive permission requirements due to being an everything-in-one app. As the name suggests, it started life as a sharing app, which already calls for plenty of permissions needed. But the app ballooned and now is a GIF app, a video player, a song finder, a game store, a movie store, and more. Share It developers can leave their users vulnerable to a man-in-the-disk attack. Read more at Ars Technica. North Korea accused of hacking Pfizer. According to Ars Technica, South Korean intelligence officials claim to have learned that North Korea has hacked the servers of pharmaceutical company Pfizer in search of COVID-19 vaccine information. Microsoft reported similar state-sponsored hacks back in November 2020, suspecting Russian threat group Fancy Bear and North Korean group Zinc and Cerium. While North Korea claims to be entirely free of COVID-19 infections, it has requested vaccines from the United Nations and expects to receive about 2 million doses. Both North Korea and Pfizer are not commenting yet on the alleged hack. NCSC warns about supply chain attacks, perhaps in response to the SolarWinds hack, which Microsoft called the largest and most sophisticated attack the world has ever seen. The National Cybersecurity Center in the UK has issued guidance to software developers about protecting the software build pipeline. The SolarWinds hack, suspected to have been carried out by Russian hackers, was enabled by a software supply chain attack, which is when a bad actor injects malicious code into a component used to build the software, essentially creating a built-in malware. The NCSC urges developers to take several precautionary steps, including defending the pipeline, protecting builds from each other, establishing a chain of custody, and considering a managed service for top security. Privacy concerns go deeper than identity theft. Wired politics writer Gilad Edelman published an article this week that brings privacy to the forefront by delving into the possible long-term ramifications of having our individual preferences and biases pieced together and stored in an artificial intelligence database. As entertainment, news, and advertising algorithms pigeonhole each of us deeper into the interests we've exposed to them, and which they in turn continue to serve back to us, we lose not only the option of broadening our minds, but also the drive to interact with others. Our life experiences will become more soiled as public life all but disappears. Speaking to the overall topic of privacy, which typically conjures the fear of being spied upon, Edelman writes, the danger is that we focus too much on the creepy individual level stuff at the expense of the more diffuse but equally urgent collective concerns. Watch out for sextortion email scams. Avast researchers have seen a significant rise in the volume of sextortion emails sent since January 11th and have protected users from sextortion campaigns. This would have resulted in over 500,000 incidents worldwide. Sextortion is an emerging online scam that takes advantage of people's fear that their most intimate moments will be exposed to the public. They usually come in the form of emails which are not only dangerous and unsettling, but can have serious real-world consequences. Tragically, sextortion email scams have even led victims to suicide, including a case involving 5 separate men in the UK and 1 in the US. While sextortion is scary, there are simple steps you can take to better protect yourself against this type of attack. First, if a sextortion email appears in your inbox, stay calm, don't answer it, and do not pay money to the attacker. Nobody will actually blackmail you, it's just a spam. Even if you get an email that looks like it was sent from your own account, ignore it. Next, attackers may provide older leaked passwords to boost the credibility of their threat. If that's the case, change your password and follow password best practices. And that's all the security news for this week. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. Just let you know that the top news article this morning on the TV was new immigrant from Hong Kong to Vancouver, vulnerable person, just got bilked out of life saving of $340,000. Sent it back as an email scam back to Hong Kong. They said that her family was in jail and they needed the money, and she lost everything. So that was the top news. You got to be on national news. You got to do this more broadly, so these people don't get. Anyway, it was a sad story. All right, now that's a sad story. I'm talking about a happy story. We're going to talk about BuzzFeed, and this is now Camille is here. She's in the audience. She waved to everybody before. She did pre-record because I said, we only have 10 minutes, so she pre-recorded this. Thanks, Camille. It's an excellent clip, and so I'm going to share my screen and play it now for you. We will just share this, and we'll talk.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today. I'm so excited to be here with Tech for Seniors. My name's Camille, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Buzz Club, which is a social learning community for adults 50 plus. We leverage technology to bring live online workshops on a variety of topics right into people's homes. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, how Buzz Club began, and then I'll tell you more about Buzz Club and our workshops, as well as how you can sign up if you're interested. So starting with me, my name's Camille, as I said. I'm from Los Angeles. After I graduated from college, I began working at the Walt Disney Company. And so I have a background in entertainment and really building engaging experiences. I also worked briefly at a virtual reality startup. So I've always been really interested in technology. The last 2 years, I was in business school at Harvard Business School. And during this time, I became more and more interested in online learning and just the potential that it provides. So I was thinking of going into online learning after school, and then the pandemic hit. And of course, online learning exploded. Everyone was home trying to learn from home, be it kindergartners through college. But as I began talking with some of my family members, I'm really close with my extended family, and I realized that there really weren't online learning platforms that were catering to people in this 50 plus age range. A lot of what's out there right now is really based around, let's teach you a specific skill so you can get a certification so you can get your first job. And that's a simplification, but a lot of it is really certification, skills, graduation based. And when I spoke with a lot of my family members, they were more interested in learning something new through a really engaging and fun experience. They wanted to connect with others. They wanted really invigorating discussions. And so that is what Buzz Club is. We create live online workshops with small groups led by experienced workshop leaders, so that when you're in this group, you're really talking with other people, sharing your ideas, asking questions, and overall just having a really engaging experience. So now I'm going to show you a short animated video that will tell you all about Buzz Club.
Hello and welcome to Buzz Club, a social learning community for adults. At Buzz Club, we are connecting people across the United States to learn, laugh, and make new friends through online, interactive workshops and group discussions. Buzz Club works by creating small groups led by experienced workshop leaders to meet weekly for face-to-face discussions over Zoom. Our workshops span a variety of topics, from history to science, literature, movies, sports, and social activities, making it easy to find one that matches your interests. And the best part is that you can participate in any of these workshops right from the comfort of your own home. So why choose Buzz Club? Well, because our workshops are mentally stimulating and interactive, meaning we don't do lectures. Our experienced workshop leaders create an interactive learning environment by leading each small group in dynamic discussions. This allows you to share your ideas, ask questions, and feel fully engaged in the learning process. But that's not all. Buzz Club workshops are also social and fun. You'll meet with the same small group each week and get to know each other through your conversations together. You'll be surprised by how quickly you'll make friends. Join us today for your first workshop. Visit www.buzzclubhq.com. We can't wait to have you.
So now I'm going to spotlight 3 different workshop series just so that you get a sense for what we offer. But these are by no means our only workshops. So you should definitely look online and see if there's a different topic you're more interested in. So starting with World War II from the vantage point of the 21st century. So Ken has been a teacher, a lawyer, and he has an honors degree in history from Yale. He has specialized in World War II history throughout his life. And he's designed this workshop to talk about some of the most interesting questions coming out of World War II. Did leadership, resources, or technology most influence the outcome? Did resistance movements anywhere significantly influence events? And how does the war still cast a shadow over today? If you are interested in history, if you're interested in World War II, this is a great option. Here's the next one. Let's Chat Life Stories, led by Patricia. So obviously this is very different. This is a social workshop that gives you the opportunity to share the stories that make you you. Patricia will ask you different questions designed specifically to spark memories, some that you may have not thought about in a long time. And you'll get to share those memories with your group and also hear their stories. This is actually one of our most popular workshops. And people love it because you really become great friends with the people in your group through, reliving their life stories. And Patricia does an amazing job with this. All right, last one in the spotlight, Discover Hidden Gems of Cinema, focusing on Indian foreign films. So Nick is a graduate of the NYU Film and TV program, one of the top programs in the country, and currently works in the film industry. And so he set up this program where you will watch a different movie each week, and they're all going to be off the beaten path. So movies you probably have not seen before. And then after you watch it, you'll discuss this movie, and Nick will lead that discussion. He'll share his unique insight and experience so that you'll learn more about the filmmaking process, but he'll also ask you questions to, really hear what you thought about the movie. What do you think this movie means? And as you go through it, you're going to learn more and really just have some really great, interesting discussions along the way. This is our website, www.buzzclubhq.com. You can see a lot more information here. For example, customer testimonials. So people who've taken our workshops before, you can watch what they have to say or even read some quotes down below. But the real action's here on the workshops tab. So you're going to click here for workshops. And this tab has all of the different workshops that we're offering. One thing I'll say is that you should feel free to give us a call anytime. Here's our phone number. You can either ask us questions, just talk to one of us about our offerings, or even sign up and check out online. So I definitely recommend that. But you can also check out online and learn more here. So let's show you how. So scrolling down, you can see all of the different workshops we're offering, a wide variety of topics. When you find one you're interested in, you simply click on it, and you can read all of the different information about it, the date, the time. Down here, we have a full class description. And at the very bottom, there's some information about the workshop leader. So in this case, Tamia will be the instructor. She is a professional photographer, but also has a lot of experience teaching. So she makes a great workshop leader. If you're signing up online, you're going to click this blue sign up button. And one thing I will note is that we are offering Tech for Seniors a 15% discount. So you can write here, Tech for Seniors, click apply, and you'll see that you get 15% off your order. Then you simply just have to fill in your email and your information to check out, and you'll receive a confirmation email at that point. We just released 10 new workshop series that are going to start the week of March 1st. Spots are limited, so please sign up soon if you'd like to join us. Each workshop series is comprised of 6 sessions meeting once a week. So you'll start the week of March 1st, and then you'll meet at the same day and time for each of the next 6 weeks. And we try to keep prices really affordable while still attracting top instructors for these workshops. So each session is about $8 per session, or $49 total for the 6-session series. Contact us today. You can either go on our website and sign up directly for our workshops, or feel free to give us a phone call and speak with one of our representatives. I sometimes field phone calls myself, so you might speak with me. And the last thing to know is that whether you're calling on the phone or checking out online, make sure you use the discount code Tech for Seniors to receive 15% off. So something that started small as just a way to host workshops for my family and their friends is turning into so much more. We actually just won an innovation competition with AARP. So I'm so excited for what the future holds, and so grateful that you have let me on to the show today to tell you a little bit more about Buzz Club. I'd love to see you in one of our workshops, but either way, thank you so much for having me. I will be on at the end to answer any questions. All right, thank you. Bye.
So I already signed up. Camille, I'm going to your foreign film one. That looks great. Thanks so much. Camille, where are you? Can you wave and say hello?
Yes, hi. I'm so glad to hear that you've signed up. Yeah, and
it was super easy.
Great. I'm glad it was easy, and I think we try to make it as easy as possible and just have a lot of different workshops that you can choose something that you're interested in. But would love to answer any questions anyone has at the end. But thanks for having me, Ron. It's been really fun.
So when you become super famous, I always want you to remember that you got your original start on Tech for Senior.
I'll remember. Don't you worry.
All right. All right. Hewie, are you ready to go with Starlink? Hey, I told you we have a real live Starlink signed up person, eh?
The Starlink Report.
This is the Starlink Report for February 22nd, 2021. I'm Hewie Poplock.
The Starlink Report.
An email went out from Starlink this past month. The Starlink is now available for order to a limited number of users in your coverage area. Placing your order now will hold your place in line for future service. Orders will be fulfilled on a first-come, first-served basis. During beta, users can expect to see data speeds vary from 50 megabits per second to 150 megabits per second, and latency from 20 milliseconds to 40 milliseconds in most locations over the next several months as we enhance the Starlink system. There will also be brief periods of no connectivity at all. Here is the boxes that you receive, and inside them is the router. As we launch more satellites, install more ground stations, and improve our networking software, data speed, latency, and uptime will improve dramatically. The Starlink team will provide periodic updates on availability as we launch more satellites and expand our coverage area. Depending on your location, some orders may take 6 months or more to fulfill. To check availability for your location, visit starlink.com and re enter your service address. Thank you for your interest in Starlink and your continued support. Here's what the roof mount looks like. Starlink's hardware includes a small satellite receiver dish for installation by customers at their service address. The service itself costs $99 per month, while the equipment is $499, a one-time fee. This does seem steep, but SpaceX CEO Elon Musk said on Twitter recently that the plan is to have the costs come down over time once the significant initial investment is recouped. For now, however, coverage is limited, though SpaceX recently expanded its closed beta to an open one, with anyone able to sign up via Starlink website after an address check and place an order, including a deposit with the full amount for the hardware kit to be charged once it ships. On February 12th, CEO Elon Musk says SpaceX is churning out Starlink satellites faster than it can launch them. The best sign yet that the company is having some amazing success in what is already the most productive satellite factory in history. On February 16th, SpaceX launched yet another batch of Starlink satellites, a full complement of 60, the standard size for its current Falcon 9 based Starlink missions. This brings SpaceX's total to just around 1,000 in orbit, taking into account the handful that were experimental or have been deorbited to date. Starlink is a global satellite based data network powered by small, low Earth orbit satellites. Historically, broadband satellites have been large, expensive spacecraft positioned much further out from Earth in a fixed orbit, providing service in a single coverage area. Because of their distance from Earth and the way they connect to base stations, coverage has been very high latency and relatively inconsistent, which you'll recognize if you've ever tried to use Wi-Fi on an air flight, for instance. SpaceX's constellation-based approach, the satellites position much closer to Earth, which improves latency and also has the satellites orbiting Earth and handing off connections between one another, which in theory provides more consistent coverage, particularly as the size of the constellation grows. Eventually, SpaceX intends to provide coverage globally from Starlink, with an emphasis on offering service to areas where coverage has been weak due to ground infrastructure challenges in the past. SpaceX lost its Falcon 9 rocket on landing in the first of two Starlink missions on February 15th. The booster appeared to miss the landing pad of the company's drone ship in the Atlantic that Monday night. It crashed into the ocean. In the process, it appears to have spared 3 seagulls that were hanging out on the landing pad and may never understand how close they came to being barbecued. The Falcon 9 itself had a decent life, completing 6 launches successfully, but only 5 landings in its career. The apparent hard water landing comes almost exactly a year after the same thing happened at the end of an earlier Starlink mission on February 17, 2020. Every landing attempt in between has been successful, for Falcon 9 that is, definitely not counting the Starship testing in Texas. SpaceX had planned to launch 2 batches of Starlinks from Florida within hours of each other earlier this month, but the second one of those missions was postponed. These launches and drone ship landings that follow them are becoming pretty routine for SpaceX, despite this mishap. But Musk would like to see the pace of launches increase. The permit from the FCC for Starlink to operate requires that at least 2,212 of its satellites be operational by March of next year. There are some scheduled Starlink liftoffs on the February 25th, March 8th, and then later in March. 60 satellites on each one. And this has been
The Starlink Report.
And I'm Hewie Poplock. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Hewie. That was great. It's really interesting to see how far this is coming.
Yep, and it's geared to people who have very limited access now. Those of us like you, Ron, it has a gigabit service, and I have 150 up and down. It's not geared for us. We already have it, and it's a little bit cheaper. But for those people like Greg, it's going to talk a little bit later in the Q&A, he has very limited access to the internet, and this really will help him a bunch.
Sure. And I'm just going to share my screen. Greg did send me a couple of pictures. And this is Greg's house. And that is his this is the aerial as it's sitting on his house, and that's what it looks like. So I know that Greg's anxious to probably tell us what a wonderful system it is. We'll let him talk in our Q&A and see how it goes. I want to move on now to Dewey's segment now. Let's see what Dewey has to say today.
Good morning, friends. This is Dewey, and my Tech Talk topic for today is clarifying the 5G rollout. But before I get into my topic, I want to say that last Monday I ended my Tech Talk with this screen. It said, while the best unlocked phones in the U.S. nearly always support GSM carriers like AT&T and T-Mobile, it's probably best to look for devices that work with all major U.S. carriers, including CDMA carrier Verizon. Come to think of it, I think I just found my topic for next week. That would be this week. How about my explaining the difference between GSM and CDMA technologies and comparing them? Well, as usual, I signed off by saying, that's my Tech Talk story for today, and I'm sticking with it. In retrospect, a better sign-off would have been, that's my Tech Talk story for today, and I really stepped into it. Well, anyway, what happened is that I simply didn't realize that the source information I relied on for that final screen was nearly 3 years old and consequently no longer really valid. Now, just to mention a little bit here, for your information, CDMA, which stands for Code Division Multiple Access, and GSM, European system, mainly global systems for mobiles, are two older radio systems, 2G and 3G, that were used by cellular providers. T-Mobile shut down its 2G network in December of 2020, this last December. Also, you may recall that 4 weeks ago, my Tech Talk story, Breaking News on VZW, Verizon 3G, was about Verizon's recent decision to delay their December 2020 shutdown of 3G until the spring of 2022. Even though the 5G rollout is gaining steam this year, 4G and 4G LTE cellular standards are still being used by U.S. carriers, Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, as well as Canadian carriers. Current cell phones, as well as the new 5G phones, will be backward compatible, that is to 4G and 4G LTE, well into this decade. In fact, the CEO of Verizon recently predicted that only half of Americans will have 5G phones or devices by 2024. Nevertheless, we need to understand that 5G worked quite differently than 4G. The most significant difference is 5G's use of unique new radio, NR technology, to achieve data speeds that 4G or 4G LTE cannot. New radio may be thought of as being similar to how some cellular providers previously used the acronym LTE to describe a type of 4G technology. For your information, 4G is faster than 4G LTE. In fact, some say that 4G LTE more rightfully should be called 3.5G. The difference between 4G and 4G LTE and 5G new radios use of frequencies is complex stuff. Here's some information from routerswitch.com, a leading network hardware supplier that could help illustrate this comparison. Now, this chart shows how new technologies can improve the performance in certain frequency bands in the radio wave spectrum that are now being used in 5G technology. Now, to explain the chart a bit, if you look at the left, there are 3 rows going across. The top one is 4G LTE information. The second one is 5G new radio. And then the third one is the difference between them, obviously positive. Across the top, we have 4 categories. Data rate, which is the speed of the data. And you can see there it says 67 times faster. Well, that's, it could be 50, could be 75, who knows? It's just an approximate figure. Latency is the speed of response to a command. And that's at least 10 to 50 times. I've even seen one chart that said it was 200 times faster. Anyway, spectrum efficiency is the bits per second per hertz. Now that sounds a little complicated, and I won't get into it too much except to say it regards download and upload speeds. That's what the black arrows are for, and it's roughly 4 to 5 times more efficient. Now the last category is users density, which is something that's rarely talked about. But the old 4G LTE could only accommodate about 2,000 users per square mile. With 5G, you can have 1 million, it's 1,000K users per square kilometer. Did I say square mile? Square kilometer, which is like 500 times larger. Anyway, going on, you may recall my saying back in December that 5G's frequency bands were commonly divided into those below 6 gigahertz, where cellular technology had always been, and those above 6 gigahertz, and often referred to as millimeter wave frequencies. A week later, I mentioned that other people in 5G technology were now saying that frequency spectrum should instead be thought of as 3 frequency bands, not 2, but 3, low band, mid band, and high band. T-Mobile here describes the 3 5G frequency bands in this way. The low band, which is in the 600 to 700 megahertz range, mainly that's for them, one tower can cover hundreds of square miles. That's a large area, think of it, with 5G services that ranges in speed from 30 to 250 megabits, which I think is a bit hopeful, that high figure, at least for the present time. Low band 5G essentially takes airwave frequencies, like the ones are used for LTE, and bundles them together with new technology to deliver faster speeds. That's kind of an important sentence. In other words, they're using the lower frequencies bundled together with new technology involved in new radio for faster speeds. Now, the mid-band is 2.5 to 3.5 for the most part. One tower covers a several-mile radius. Remember, low band was several hundred miles. Covers a several-mile radius with 5G that can range from, well, up to 900 megabits per second. Now, high-band millimeter wave is way up there in the 24 to 39 gigahertz range in the radio frequency spectrum. One tower covers a 1 mile or less radius. That's way smaller than midband, while delivering roughly 1 to 3 gigabyte per second speeds. Gigabit, I should say, per second speeds. Each of these tiers will improve in performance over time. Now here's a cute photo showing the 3 tiers as a layer cake. On the bottom, we have the low band nationwide, which is going to be the largest by far area of the United States. Then in the middle, we have mid-band metro. That's metro and smaller towns or more densely populated areas like suburbs and so forth. It's going to be, for those of us who live anywhere near a city, that will probably include us. Now at the very top is millimeter wave, dense urban, or densely urban population, which like downtown in business centers and such, which rely on ultra-fast signal for their 5G. Cellular providers here and worldwide are implementing fixed wireless access. I've talked about this before, FWA, which is called fixed base by some, rather than using wired connections. In other words, wireless access rather than wired connections for both mid-band 5G and ultra-fast high-band millimeter wave 5G. Because these two bands limited signal range and need for unobscured radio transmission. They have to do it that way because of those factors. Fixed wireless access does bring faster data speeds, lower latency, and is less expensive overall to implement, other than they have to have more, so maybe they don't have the savings. Here's an illustration of 5G fixed wireless access. You see a tower or a pole or the side of a building, you know, whatever, with its little antennas beaming toward housing on the left and apartment buildings in the middle and business buildings and so forth. So these particular antennas are facing those particular directions where receiving antennas will carry the signal inside to their router. This photo shows a 5G array of antennas on a base station. These are antennas that are sending out signal, that's back and forth signal, send and receive, I guess, to the antennas. Well, that about wraps it up for today, except to mention that radio transmission, especially in the millimeter wave bands, is inherently lossy, has loss. It's also highly sensitive to environmental changes like foliage, rain, snow, and so forth. Consequently, mobile service providers need to plan for smaller cell sizes, which could result in increased infrastructure costs per household. Now, they save money one way and spend it another. Final point, cellular providers obviously rely on income from their customers for 5G to happen. Consider this contrast, I guess it's from late 2020. In Manhattan, cellular customers provided $343,000 income per square mile. In a sparsely populated county in Texas, the income was 50 cents per square mile. Therein lies another huge challenge in building out 5G. Well, that's my Tech Talk story for today. And this time, I hope I can stick with it. Okay, have a great day. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week. Bye now.
Well, thanks, Dewey. That was great. Yeah, I think you nailed it. It looked good. Bob, you're up next. Did you want to do your show? What I asked Bob to do is he made a short video on how to transfer data from your LastPass to Bitwarden. As you know, there's going to be some big changes, and we're going to be discussing these a little bit later in another show, but there is some big changes that are occurring in LastPass. So you may want to consider
using the free version.
Go ahead, Bob.
If you're using the free version of LastPass, as I have for many years, you'll notice that when you now go into LastPass, you're greeted with this notification. As of March 16th, there are some changes coming. LastPass is going to be restrictive on where and for what you can use your free license, and you'll be asked to make a choice. You'll either be able to use the free license for your computers, or you can choose to use them for your mobile devices, but you can't use them for free on both. If you decide to purchase the premium product, then of course right now they have a special upgrade offer, and it'll cost you $2.25 a month. Of course, they'll charge that for a year. If you want to stay with something free and not have the restriction and not have to choose between one platform or the other, something that I can suggest you use is called Bitwarden. Bitwarden is a free, yes, they also have a paid version, but for all intents and purposes, the free version should be just fine if you're happy with the free version of LastPass. Bitwarden is a cross-platform password manager, so you'll be able to use it on all your devices and all your operating systems. To make the change, you first have to create an account at Bitwarden. Simple enough to do. Simply go to Bitwarden and sign up. What I have done is I've signed up and I've installed the Bitwarden password manager on my Chrome browser, which is my default browser. Now what I want to do is to get the passwords that are saved in LastPass over to the Bitwarden password manager. And the easiest way to do that is go to your LastPass vault. This is the message we get greeted with. Close this thing. Go to Advanced Options and select Export. You'll have to enter your master password. Select Continue. It will now export, and you can decide where you want the file to be exported. And it's being exported as a CSV file, which is what we need because that's what Bitwarden can import. It's going to my downloads folder, save it. Once the download is completed, you can get out of LastPass, open up your vault for Bitwarden. Once that's open, go to Tools, and you have Import Data. Select it, select the format of the import file. In our case, what we're importing is LastPass CSV. Select it. You then have to choose the file, which I had downloaded to the Downloads folder. There's the file itself that was exported from LastPass. Select it and import the data. It has been successfully imported. My stuff is now in Bitwarden. That's all it takes. Very simple, very easy. Stay safe, be free. I hope that helps.
Thanks a lot, Bob. That was great. We're going to be talking a lot more about this in probably maybe next week or the week after, as we move closer to the March 16th change in LastPass. All right, Ray, are you up and ready to go? And just before as you're queuing up there, I want to thank everyone on our live streaming service for coming. It is an honor that you are here today watching us on live stream. You can watch the whole show on our website. Please sign up for a newsletter, and you'll get the link where our whole show is recorded, edited, and including the Q&A session. So thanks again, and we'll see those on our live streaming service next week at the same time and the same place. All right, Ray, you're ready to roll?
I am. Thank you. And I wanted to say first that I was really interested in what Camille had to say with the Buzz Club. That sounds very, very interesting. And I think I've mentioned to this group before that what I have been promoting for a while now are music listening clubs. I'm involved with two myself that I host, and they're usually people, anywhere from 8 to 10 people, and for maybe 2 to 3 hours, we play either audio files or video files, either saved on our computer or those that are on YouTube. We go around the table or the Zoom room, if you will, and really enjoy it. This sounds something very similar to what Buzz Club is doing. So what I'm going to do is write up more about that. I'll pass that on to Ron today so he can include it in that next issue of the newsletter. All right, let me share my screen. Should have had this open. It's coming up though. There we go. So my focus for the last couple of sessions has been on what I consider the best singers to come out of the 1950s. And I've included Roy Orbison and then, of course, Jackie Wilson. And today, the third, this may be the final one, is going to be a focus on Johnny Maestro. To me, a lead singer extraordinaire. And he was able to lead two different groups in two different decades. So not many vocal group singers had a successful career in the 1950s that were able to reinvent themselves and go on to success in another genre a decade later. But Johnny Maestro did just that. He was born John Mastrangelo in Manhattan, New York City in 1939, and he began his musical career in 1957 as the original lead singer of the Crests. Now, what was remarkable about the Crests at that time is they were one of the first interracial groups, and they originally had a female member, a 15-year-old named Patricia Vandross. But she had to leave the group early on when her mother, and this is not surprising, would not allow her to go on tour with 4 teenage boys. Johnny would tell the story that when they practiced at Patricia's parents' home, Patricia's 6-year-old brother would constantly bother them wanting to sing along. The brother grew up to be famed R&B singer Luther Vandross. So the Crest had several hits in the late 1950s, but the one that rose to number 2 in 1958 and became their signature song was 16 Candles. Every girl who turned 16 years old loved that song. Now, fast forward in 1968, Maestro joined with an existing 7-piece band and the remaining members of the Del Satins. Now, Del Satins, again, a vocal group most people had never heard of because while they had several releases, they were all non-charting. But this is the unnamed backup group on songs like Run Around Sue and The Wanderer that would big hits by Dion. So this new group was named the Brooklyn Bridge, and their very first release in late 1968, The Worst That Could Happen, went to number 3 on the charts. Now, of all the accolades Maestro has earned over the years, he still has not been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Every year, his fans continue to clamor and petition for his inclusion. Hopefully someday this will happen. Johnny died in 2010 from cancer while living in Florida. I met and spoke with him on several occasions, and surprisingly, he was quite a shy person. That was until he got in front of a microphone and then hold on. So in the newsletter, I'm going to provide some YouTube links for his songs. But the one I'm going to play now is a first for you folks, because this is coming from my private video collection when the Brooklyn Bridge appeared in 1998 at a Doo-Wop Society of Southern California show in Long Beach, California. Take special note of the MC and see if he looks familiar. And sorry, I just had to throw that in.
Thanks, Ray. That was great. That was really good.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that
Lots of good memories in all his music.
Absolutely. Glad you enjoyed it.
Listen, it's an
who
hour.
was the announcer?
That was me.
Was it really?
That was me in 1998. Haven't changed a bit.
So thanks so much. It is top of the hour. That's a wrap for our show today. We will be continuing on now with a Q&A session. I wanted to thank the staff and everybody who worked so hard this week to create a great show for everyone. Hewie, thank you so much for your Starlink report. That was great. It's interesting to see how far we've come, eh?
Absolutely. It's really progressed. It's become mainstream discussions on newscasts and just in general.
Yeah.
Where when I first started doing the Starlink reports, no one even heard of it.
Right. Now, remember, you don't get the week off because in 3 weeks we have another Chromebook series. So you get working on the next Chromebook show, eh?
Yep. And I'm also working on the Chromebook section of my new website. Great.
And listen, Bob, thank you so much for your security roundup today. And thank you for the new how to export data from LastPass. That was a great video. And Ray, you're in for a big treat tonight.
I'm looking forward to it.
Bob, you'll be back next week.
I will, and I have posted a link in the chat for all the other services that can easily be transferred over to Bitwarden.
Thank you so much. And Ray, music clubs are something I'm getting more interested in. This could be interesting. Let's keep talking about that, eh?
Absolutely. I'll get off to you today, my write-up for the newsletter.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks. And then Dewey, thanks for keeping us informed about cell phone technology. That's really great. Hopefully you and Joanne have a great week down there in sunny Mesa, Arizona. And you'll be back next week. That's great. Now we're going to move on into, and thanks everyone for coming. We do appreciate everybody coming. And we also would appreciate it if you sign up for our newsletter and be sure and let us know what Hewie and our little letter we send you after you sign up is all about. We're hopefully you'll enjoy that. I'd like to move on now into the question and answer period and phase. I see 2 people have their hands up first, but before we start answering questions, I would like to ask Camille Hooks, I know that she's still on here. I'd like her to come on and unmute herself and say hi to everyone. What does HQ stand for in your web address? I'm interested to know why HQ.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, that's a good question. It just stands for headquarters. And so that's why our address is Buzz Club headquarters.
right.
I thought it was high quality.
Hey, you know what? That's not bad. Maybe I should say that instead.
Now, Camille, there's no. I noticed in your advertising there was that you advertised in the United States, but there's no reason why in Canada. I signed up and I live in Canada. There's no reason why people in Canada couldn't come as well. Is that right?
That's very true. And when I started, I was just thinking about this in the U.S. since I'm in the U.S. But I have had a few people joining from Canada recently, and so I've realized that I should probably change that portion of the video. Because the nice thing about being virtual is that you really can join from anywhere.
Right, it is. So, and it was very easy to do. And I signed up for the foreign films section, which is great. You know, it's because you know that's going to be 6 weeks of entertainment for us. So it's great, eh?
Well, I'm excited to have you, and I think the nice thing is if anyone wants to sign up, for the Discover Hidden Gems, which is movies that are both independent films and foreign films. They'll be in your same class. So I'm sure you'd love to have some friends in the class with you if any of you guys are interested. But there's a wide variety. So again, feel free to see what you're interested in.
Now, you have to promise me one thing. When you get super famous and really wealthy and rich, I want you to remember Tech for Senior and the fact you got your start here, right?
Well, I'm excited. I'm on the newsletter now, so I'll definitely be keeping tabs on what you're all doing. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm just excited to be part of the group now.
There you are, and you are the youngest member of our group too.
That's true. Maybe I get a prize.
Well, thanks for coming. I'm going to open it up now for any questions. Okay, Camille, is that all right? So there may be questions for you. If you want to stay, that's fine. If you, we usually yak around for another 15 or 20 minutes, and then we'll head off. But we'll work on that. I see that George Bowden had his hand up, and he's anxiously waiting to talk. George, do you want to go ahead? Just unmute yourself.
You're muted.
This is a question for Camille. So have you worked with any social centers or seniors centers in providing services with them? Because their membership is suffering because they can't offer in-person sessions. And they are also looking to do virtual meetings and things like that. So I have talked to a group and I said, there's going to be competition out there for this boundless virtual meeting thing, because we no longer are limited just to our locale. And I'm wondering if you have talked with any of the social service organizations or senior centers and offered programs that work with them.
That's such a great question. And the answer is yes, although I'm still in the phase where I'm reaching out to more. So I'm actually working with a club in Los Angeles. It's called the Beverly Hills Active Adults Club, but its members are outside of Beverly Hills as well. And so they're kind of the first senior organization that I've partnered with. And so they are, offering the workshops to their members, which I think is great because I think that, we don't want to be on Zoom all the time. We need a mix of in-person activities and online workshops. And so I'm really excited to partner with senior organizations. So if any of you are a member of an organization that you think, might be a good idea for me to partner with, I'd love to, hear about them. I'm just excited to start expanding our offerings so that we can partner with more and more organizations. So actually, maybe I'll put my email in the chat. And if there's anyone who has an idea, whether you're a part of a different club or a senior center and you think that some of your friends might be interested in getting together for one of these workshops, you can feel free to email me.
Great. Is that okay, George? Does that answer your question?
That's fine. That's a great answer.
Great. Okay. And Dewey, you have a question?
Yes, I looked at the chat a few moments ago, and I saw there was a question by Chandan Sharma, who is one of the people viewing this morning, about recording, DVD recording software and hardware. This is an area I have a fair amount of knowledge in, and so I invited Chandan to send me an email, but I kind of butchered the first part of my email address. The first part is Dewey Close, spelled DEWEYKLOOS as in Sam, and it's at, and then you see the rest of the email addresses. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Dewey. I saw that. I was getting ready to send you the email. Thank you. And ripping CDs, the music CDs is what I also wanted to know. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Chris Rosinski.
Okay, here I am. I've got kind of a suggestion. When I saw the video, and I thought about it, I like to. When minute I see the word meeting, I kind of now run the other way. So I don't want to go to any more meetings. But what I heard was it's not a lecture. So I think maybe if just a suggestion that I would be more amenable to going to something that was a quote gathering with a leader, not a lecturer. So that was my suggestion, that and we've had that in our computer clubs. People will come to a gathering and just share things, and there'll be a leader of that group. But the minute you say meeting, they run in the other direction. So that's just a suggestion.
Thank you. No, I'm always looking for suggestions and to hear your input. And I think that's something I've been thinking about, is what is the best way to communicate what we're doing? Because it is supposed to be a fun social experience. You know, you're learning something new, but it's not like you're back in school or you're, you know, at work. So I appreciate that. And I think, you know, using the word gatherings is great. And I'll start incorporating that. Thank you.
Great, thanks. And Murray, you have a question?
Well, it's more a, I put something in the chat area. My power went off on my computer. That's how come I got kicked out. But I got it back on. I don't know why. But anyway, I posted a couple of things in the chat area. First of all, there's really excellent video. It's about an hour long on how to shoot like a pro, how to make professional quality videos using your camera or tablet, either Android or iPhone. And it's extremely well presented. It's a free webinar, but only until tomorrow. After tomorrow, you have to get a membership in Legacy Family Tree webinars. And the other thing is that one of the points that the person makes is you'll keep your camera steady when you're taking videos, especially. And yes, a tripod is best. There are other things you can do, but one of the things that I always carry in my camera bag is a do-it-yourself string tripod. And I've put on a link on how to make that. It costs about $1 to buy the stuff to make a good one. And if you don't have a tripod, you're somewhere where it can just fit in your pocket. If you're limited by what you can take on a trip or something, it's a very, very good device. Basically, what you have a hook guy that screws into the camera, a heavy cord that you make into a triangle, spread your feet and hold it up tight, and that stabilizes your camera. And then there's one more thing, if I get the chance to find it. I can't remember the year. I think it was in the 1990s. 3 women were murdered in the Renfrew, Ontario area. It turns out that one of our neighbors, when we lived in Petawawa, has become quite an opera star, and he has made a video. And Margaret Atwood, who's quite a famous Canadian author, wrote the lyrics for all the songs in it. It's something like Songs for Murdered Sisters or something like that. If I can find the link for that, I think it's available to watch for free until June. So I'll either get the link if I find it today. If not, I will send it to you, Ron.
Okay, super. Is Greg here? Is Greg, I just, before we close, because we're at 15 minutes after now, is Greg here? I wanted to just give a quick chat about his Starlink and how easy it was to set up. Did Greg? I don't know if he's still online
Oh
or.
yeah, I'm right here.
So Greg, hey, you look pretty good. You know, you're pretty fast and wow. So in 5 words or less.
I can't do it.
How, tell me, I'm really interested. Like, was it easy to set up or what?
Yeah, so what we did, as Hewie said, I joined them, 6 months ago when he first started giving us the information. And I just sent them an email. They sent me a couple of emails, and then all of a sudden I got an email that said that they have a package ready to go. That package box is about 3.5 feet by 3 feet tall. And this is the instructions to it. Can you see it? You really can't see it, I don't think. There's only 3 instructions. And the instructions just show you to go up on the roof and put this thing up. It weighs about 20 to 25 pounds. It's fairly heavy. It has a permanent cord attached to it with a USB port on the end of it. It's 100 feet long. And so we put it up and we hooked it into what Hewie just showed you. It's a receiver unit that hooks into the electricity into 120 volts. And then it's black, and you take the black USB port and hook it in there, or cord. And then it's got a white one, and you put it on your, I don't know what that thing is, a router?
Router, yeah.
It's a funny looking thing. Anyway, you just set it up, and all of a sudden in your email, you'll have the information, and you click on it, and all you do is put in your secret code, and you're online. And by the time I went out and backed, my unit up on the roof already acquired the signal.
Does it move, Greg? Does it actually move as the satellites go overhead, or is it just fixed?
It's fixed. It can move.
Right.
But he has so many of those things. My house points the back door, excuse me, points to north. And I aimed at due north, and it just angled its angle, and it just sits there.
It's pretty cool.
And I mean, that's as simple. I don't think that it took 3 minutes maximum. It took a longer time. Now on the head, it actually has a tripod that sits on the ground, and it's got a little snap deal that you put the post down. And my pipe up on the top of the roof was the exact size. So I just drilled 2 holes. You know, it's got the snap thing that you press it to so it'll go down, and then it locks. And we just hooked it back up, and I mean, it's a done deal.
It's a done deal. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking more about it later. This is something I'm really interested in, Greg, and we need to talk more about this.
Well, okay, just a minute. My speed on Cable One or Sparklight, they gave me 100. We paid $59 for 100, and they were very lucky to give me between 5 and 7. And so we paid for more money to get a 300, and the maximum they can give us is 50. And they said that the equipment is old, and I just had to bite my time. And it'd be 2 years before it got up. I just ran a speed check, and my speed check was 107, and my upload speed was 49.
That's great. That's really good.
Yeah.
Well, it's fast, but we watch Dewey set us up on YouTube, and we watch the movies, and it still buffers on movies.
But the upload speed is really, that's quite amazing, because that's broadcasting back up to the satellite.
Yeah, but see, it fluctuates. The whole system fluctuates. A little bit ago, I checked it, and it was 49. And then I checked it a little bit ago while Ray was on, and it was 168.
Mhm.
So it just
Ron?
kind of fluctuates. And I don't know if it works on how many people are on there or not. I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Okay. Listen,
Once they
listen,
get
everyone.
once they get more satellites up there, I think you'll see a lot of improvement too.
Yeah, well, it's already an improvement for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think this is great. So listen, anyway, listen, we got to stop it here. It's 20 minutes after the hour. I'm sorry. This is our question and answer period is now finished.
I did put that in the chat.
Pardon me?
I did put that information into the chat.
Thanks, Murray. Thanks a lot. We will see everybody back again next week at the same time, the same place, and the same ID. Nothing is changing. And the same old gang will still be here doing the same old things. And we hope to have Camille back sometime. She's going to remember us when she's famous, or maybe she's famous now. I don't know. But when they're really famous, she's going to remember us. And so hopefully we'll see her again. And have a great week, everybody. And we will see you same time, same place next week. Bye now.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.